Welcome into No Pun Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. This is officially the halfway point through the NFL season because it's week 8.5. It's the Wednesday of week 9, so it technically counts. You are joining myself, Josh, and Ryan. Today, man, there's just been a lot. I would just simply say a lot. From players being out, crazy things happening to players and with players, just in general life. A lot of stuff that you are going to have to navigate as a fantasy manager for not even just this week, but for the rest of the season. So we're going to hop into it right now. Once I find the video, here we go. Welcome into No Pun Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I am your host, Joe Zollo. Joining me, as always, the pixelated Joshua Hudson in the high definition Ryan Weisse. Josh, are you good over there? Has Florida finally sunken below sea level and your internet's just not working? What's happening?
Apparently.
I love that we play Wi-Fi roulette with Josh anymore.
Yes. Yeah. It's amazing. Josh, I don't know what's happening there. Upgrade your Wi-Fi. Oh, here we go. We're coming back to life here.
He'll catch back up.
We'll catch back. Yeah. At least he's not using Mozilla.
There you go.
At least he's not using Firefox.
I was going to give him a props and say even pixelated, he looks better than me right now. My hair looks like shit. I'm just noticing it.
That's okay, Ryan. Your hair might look like shit, but how did week 8 go for you?
All rainbows and sunshine. I just found out I was number 22 in the country in Fantasy Pros ranking last week and number 1 in tight ends. So
wow.
Very nice. Very nice.
Absolutely electric. I think I had a win in every league except for one, and that was one I had Derrick Henry in. But I'm 7-0 in that league, so it doesn't matter.
There you go. 8-0 in 4-eyed championship. On the way to that repeat.
Man, doesn't matter until the playoffs, bruh.
Playing our buddy Oklahoma Doug this week. I think I won by 160 last week. I might win by 200 this week.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Shots
Doug.
fired.
Speaking of Doug, he's wondering what Captain America and Hulk's baby will be called. He said Star Spangled Banner.
I think it would be called the 2020 champion 4-eyed team. That's all I do is put superheroes on the field.
Ryan Weisse. Elixirs, good seeing you. And we will talk about Calvin Ridley in a second. And my brother, he asked me who he should play. I think it was David Johnson or some other schmuck. And the other schmuck put up 0 points, and David Johnson put up 1.3. So, boom. He lost.
Positive points or good points, right?
Yeah. So. Yeah, he lost. All right, let's just...
Yeah, how much time do you have?
Three quarters of
Good
a page?
Lord. This is... I can't remember. And most of these aren't even injuries. That's the sad part.
That's the amazing part. All right, here we go. Trade deadline. Von Miller traded to the Los Angeles Rams for a second and third round pick in 2022. So I have two things to mention here. One, to the idiot Broncos fans saying that Vic Fangio and the GM is dumb. You have a dead old asset on your team and you're not making the playoffs. So get a second and a third round pick for him?
Yeah.
Question mark? Like that's an awesome trade. And for Rams fans, how do you live at night knowing you have no offseason? Like, how do you live at night that knowing come April, it doesn't matter?
Yep.
It just doesn't matter. If
They
don't win this year,
successfully realized that there is no salary cap.
Yeah.
They're just having fun right now.
but if they don't win this year,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They're never winning with Sean McVay as head coach because this is absurd. This team is loaded.
I was going to say, it depends on what they lose because I think they have one more run in them with everybody if they get their core back next year because there's nobody guaranteed to walk away next year, right, of their big guys.
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, they're big guys, yeah. Well, they're big
But then
guys.
again, when you look at it, though, it's the surrounding pieces that usually end up mattering the most, and they could lose all of that. So
Exactly. And presumably Andrew Whitworth will not be here
Yeah,
next year because he'll be
that's a
a
good point.
42-year-old left tackle. So, and Melvin Ingram traded to the Kansas City Chiefs for a 2022 sixth-round pick. What a fall from heaven he had.
Yeah. That's like twice this year he was traded for a 6th-round pick, right? Like-
No, he was
No, he was
signed.
released in the
Oh,
offseason.
okay.
He was released in the offseason.
Signed in Pittsburgh and then
Signed
just
to
never
Pittsburgh.
played.
Yeah, for basically a vet minimum, and now to Kansas City, who, I mean, any of us could pass rush for Kansas
I was
City.
gonna
and
say.
we'd be just
They
they'd have
addressed
about
the
the same
need.
skill on that
The
defensive
moral
line.
of this story is a very uneventful NFL trade deadline once again. I don't know why everybody
You know
gets
what?
their hope
You
every
know what?
single year for this.
Yeah,
Josh-
that might come up again.
Yeah, Josh, you're wrong. This was super eventful. It just didn't have to do with trades. It was
Yeah.
a very eventful trade
You're
deadline.
not wrong.
Very eventful. Derrick Henry broke a bone in his foot. It's a Jones fracture, so he's out 6 to 10 weeks. Leaves window open for a return in the playoffs if Tennessee makes it. But also, if it's on the shorter side of the 6 weeks, could potentially open a spot in your fantasy playoffs because that would put you at week 15, which for most
I
leagues,
can't imagine he returns on the early end of that. I know we all talk about he's like superhuman and everything else, but like Jones fractures are no
Oh, they're bad.
joke.
Let's
Yeah.
throw it out right now. We're going to be talking about this if it happens getting closer. Week 17 is your championship this year. Are you playing Derrick Henry in his
Yes.
first game back? Okay.
yes. Am I playing Derrick Henry? What? Derrick Henry in the fantasy playoffs? I don't care if he hasn't played football in 5 years.
I get it. That's a big dude on a hurt foot.
It is a big
Yeah.
dude on a hurt foot, but also if Tennessee's vying for a playoff spot,
They
know,
need-
Yeah, I was about to say, like, can you conceivably think that they're going to trot him out there for 20 plus carries?
he's playing the Dolphins.
Oh, fair.
He's
Might only
playing.
be 10 carries at that
yeah,
point.
that's a good point.
He's playing.
It might
the
be 3 carries for
Dolphins.
3 touchdowns.
Yeah, in 225 yards. Like
It transforms into a vulture in championship week.
it's the Dolphins. Like what?
Okay, I didn't look at the schedule before I asked. That was
Yeah.
an awful question.
Yeah, the Dolphins. Okay, Jameis Winston torn ACL with a damaged MCL, so that's goodbye. Trevor Seaman, presumably the
Simeon, but
Seaman.
continue.
Trevor Seaman. Trevor Seaman. My Danielle Hunter comeback player of the year bet is now off of the table.
Yeah, that hurts.
So he is out for the season with a torn pec muscle, and that's a huge loss for
I
Minnesota.
said he was playing so well.
Unreal. Lights out. I put that bet in hoping he would break Michael Strahan's single season sack record. He was doing well. He was getting there. Not happening anymore. J. Rob suffered a foot injury on Sunday. Nothing too serious, but week 9 is up in the air. You're not playing him in week 9. Also, he's playing Buffalo, so you're not playing him in week 9.
So don't get cute and think that Carlos Hyde's going to do well.
Well, I say, keep in mind, week 9 is almost as bad as week 7 on some of these lineups people have to throw out. So.
That's true. That's true. T.Y. Hilton, concussion. He is out tomorrow against the Jets. Sam Darnold, also knocked in the head, currently in concussion protocol against for Sunday's game against the Patriots.
Our buddy Jeff Hasley put out Christian McCaffrey and Darnold both practiced today.
Well, if the Panthers are smart, they will keep Darnold in concussion protocol until after he plays the Patriots. So, just saying, he doesn't seem to play well against that team. Green Bay activated Alan Lazard and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Lazard off of COVID IR, Valdes-Scantling off short term, as announced during Saturday's show, which I wasn't here for. Tunyon and Kylan Hill both out for the season, torn ACL. We'll get to Aaron Rodgers in a second. Russell Wilson had the pin removed from his finger, and Christian McCaffrey is practicing, still limited, but his return window is now open. Other news, Henry Ruggs was involved in a fatal car crash resulting in the death of a passenger. Reports say he showed signs of impairment.
So I wrote this up after the news or before the news popped today. 156 miles an hour that he was driving. His blood alcohol level was twice the legal limit. Was released by the Raiders yesterday on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So from
At
our
this point,
defense attorney in our writers chat,
Yeah.
Ruggs is done.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'd say at this point, it's not about football anymore. You hope he can come to grips with what he did. You hope he can somehow make amends. It's just prayers out to all the family who lost people, and it's fucking disgusting. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Call an Uber.
Yeah. at 3:39 in the morning too.
Yep.
I believe is when he was
nothing
driving.
good.
They
Nothing
also
good
found
happens
a
after
loaded
midnight.
handgun in his car too.
Yeah,
which that ain't good either. All kinds of mess with Henry Ruggs right now.
Yep. Aaron Rodgers tested positive for COVID. He is unvaccinated, so I think his earliest return time is Saturday of
it's
next week.
Oh,
it's
even
so
worse
much
than
worse. I have gut feelings this is going to be very bad.
What do you mean?
He lied about being
the way,
vaccinated.
go ahead, Ryan.
Oh, he lied. Oh, I didn't know that.
He lied about being
the way
vaccinated.
that he was talking in the preseason. He was saying that he was, quote, immunized because apparently he went through some sort of like special treatment to try to get through, get like without having to get the vaccine, but still be classified as vaccinated.
Sure.
But the NFL denied it. So they knew that he was playing this year as unvaccinated. And
but then
there's
he
a
violated
whole slew
every
of
media
different
protocol.
protocols.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
This could get ugly. It's going to be. I think I already saw it referred to as Rodgers Gate. So that's all you're going to hear about for the next 10 days.
Wow. All right. So Jordan Love will start Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs.
And by the way, your boy Kurt Benkert also on the COVID IR.
Is he? Oh,
Yeah.
They flew it, but they called in. They flew in the emergency relief pitcher, Blake Bortles.
The GOAT!
They did not.
Yeah.
Oh, Kurt.
And Bortles came right out and said he anticipated signing to the practice squad and being on the 53 by Saturday. So
BRB
Bortles called his shot.
BRB as I delete Kurt Benkert from my upside pick. Wow, that's sad. That is so sad. I had Jordan Love / Kurt Benkert of me guessing Jordan Love would go down with like a minor ankle injury in the first quarter and Kurt Benkert would step in and become Superman like Mike White did. Yeah. But AJ Green also on the COVID IR list. So that's even bigger news. Kurt Benkert on the COVID IR list, ladies and gentlemen.
Biggest news of the show.
Biggest news of the show. Calvin Ridley also stepping away from the team to work on his mental health. Yeah. All right, let's dive.
Saquon also landed on COVID IR as well.
Yeah, just about an hour
positive test, but he's still out with an ankle injury. So
yeah, that's a wash
less
there.
Newsworthy. But.
Yep. All right. Some questions here before we get into 3 up, 3 down. Alexa's always in the chat. Looking for trading Godwin. I feel he's in a good place to sell. Don't know if the opponent would accept, but maybe DJ Moore or Mike Williams. He's 3-5 in a standard. Is this a good idea? He also has Brady on a bye. Believes the best idea is pick up Carr. Next best pickups were Lawrence, Jones, Bridgewater. Is that a good idea? I think we can all agree Derek Carr is probably the best of that bunch, so we can skip that one quick. Would you rather have Godwin, DJ Moore, or Mike Williams in a standard? Anyone chime in?
So the bye week thing didn't click for me right away. If you can make the trade and get a playable asset at 3-5 this week, I guess I'm okay with the trade. I am pro Godwin, have always been pro Godwin. It would be hard for me to make this trade. But of these two, give me the consistency of DJ Moore.
Okay. Josh?
I don't even know that DJ Moore is that consistent right now. He's had less than 10 fantasy points, I believe, in 3 straight weeks. And then Mike Williams has kind of been trending down of late, too, with some tougher matchups. I'm definitely favoring Godwin on this side. I mean, sitting at 3-5, though, that's hard because you're trading for a guy that's not going to help you this week, and you're losing Brady as well. So you're really going to have to put some strong pieces in there because if you end up at 3-6, that's going to be a harder hurdle to get through.
Wait a second. Am I reading this wrong? Is he trying to acquire Godwin? I took this as he's trying to move Godwin.
No, he is trying to move Godwin. Yeah, he's trying to get rid of Godwin. He feels he's in a good place to sell. Don't know if the opponent would accept, but DJ Moore or Mike Williams.
I mean, if you're trying to get Godwin or trade Godwin here, I don't mind getting Williams, but I would want another asset back because I feel like right now Godwin's
trying to sell Godwin.
Yeah, he's trying to sell Godwin. Yeah, I would keep Chris Godwin. I would keep Chris Godwin. I would hold on to him at this point. DJ Moore again, hot and cold. He does not have a matchup this week. As much as I harp on J.C. Jackson not being great against fantastic route runners. DJ Moore is still a deep threat, and that's where J.C. Jackson makes his money. It blows my mind that Mike Williams didn't have that good of a week last week because I was at the game. Jalen Mills was on him half the time, and Jalen Mills plays the game with his eyes closed. So I don't understand.
Yeah, tried to tell you that in the offseason.
I knew that in the offseason. I knew that. I've known that for 5 years. He bites on stop and goes like it's a delicious burger. I'm confused why he still has a job. So, but
you signed him to a 5-year deal.
I know, but J.C. Jackson, when he did cover Mike Williams on a couple deep routes, Mike Williams didn't stand a chance because that's what J.C. Jackson's good at, bodying big receivers and beating them down the field. So DJ Moore doesn't have a good matchup. Mike Williams has been hot and cold. They have a decent matchup this week in Philly, but again, I'd still keep Godwin. Junior, Lamar Jackson against the Vikings, Joey Turnbuckle against the Browns. Josh?
Good problem to have.
Very good problem.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is a really good problem to have. I mean, the matchup technically favors Burrow, but, Lamar's going to get his rushing yards no matter how good a team is at stopping rushing quarterbacks. I would lean Jackson. He's had a week off. He's rested. He's just more dynamic.
I think John Harbaugh has a ridiculous record coming off bye weeks as well. Ryan?
Forgot all about that. Yeah, they're like almost undefeated or some crazy
I think he only has one loss.
I mean, it's right out of the Andy Reid tree. Like, Reid has only lost, I think, like 2 or 3 coming out of a bye.
But
so.
Lamar started out as my QB1 this week. Give me Lamar.
Vikings defense is garbage, and now they don't have Danielle Hunter.
Exactly.
So, yeah, the only guys you're going to worry about are Harrison Smith and Eric Kendricks, and they're not tackling Lamar Jackson until he's at least 5 yards down the field. So, Lamar Jackson, definitely. From Angie.
Oh, Angie. This is great.
So, hold on. I have to interrupt, though, because I'm sure everyone's reading it right now. She posted this while you were telling the Henry Ruggs story, and I cracked a smile and felt like such an asshole.
Wow.
So, thank you, Angie.
So, am I yes, all the others were 7s, and I don't.
Really?
He's saying his wife was a 1 out of 10, Joe.
Oh, gotcha.
You can't relate because Maggie's way hotter than you. So
yeah. Well, neither can you, Ryan. So.
Exactly. We all know about outkicking our coverage.
Yeah, outkicking the coverage. From G, he wanted to give a big thank you to Tunyon and K Hill. He says the Kylan Hill dynasty is soon to come.
Go for it. G.
He was we were telling you he was harping. He's like Kylan Hill, R.I.P. I'm like, did he even have a carry this season?
Got a couple. Yeah, he was mostly a kick returner for him though.
Yeah.
All right. Junior also asked Melvin Gordon or Damian Harris as his RB2. Who's Denver? I would probably go Melvin Gordon.
Oh, that matchup.
Denver's Dallas.
For them.
Both their matchups are bad.
I'm going to take the guy who's not splitting 50-50 though. So Damian Harris.
That's fair. Josh.
Yeah, I think I would probably go Damian, but it's rough either way.
I don't like either of them. If
it's a PPR league, I'd probably lean Gordon.
Melvin Gordon.
I will say that.
Standard, I would go Damian Harris. Yep. J2 nice. Taysom Hill, or I assume Taysom Hill.
Yeah, autocorrect.
Yeah, Taysom Hill, worth a pickup this week. He's got Kyler, and he's questionable to start.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kyler plays, but yeah, why not?
I am a notorious Taysom Hill hater, which I've told every one of my followers this week when they've asked me a Taysom Hill question. I don't think he's going to be good, and I don't care to add him.
Here's the thing with Taysom Hill. He could have 40 passing yards and 3 interceptions, or he could have 80 rushing yards, 200 passing yards, and 5 touchdowns, 3 rushing. Like, those are 2 completely within the realm of possibilities on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's a huge gamble, but again, any quarterback that's going to generate a ton of rushing yards, they're worth a pickup at the very least. Whether you feel comfortable starting him or not is a different story. But at this point, it's literally in an emergency if Kyler doesn't play.
Well, yeah, I'll give you that.
And Jay, another one from him. Got Elijah Mitchell in the flex. Should he switch him up for one of these guys? Marvin Jones Jr., one of the pair in Denver, Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy, or Chuba Hubbard. We can all knock Marvin Jones Jr. off the list. He's playing Buffalo.
Yep.
Is Sutton going to see Trevon Diggs?
Probably, yeah.
Trayvon Diggs has allowed the most yards of any defensive back in the NFL this season. So he's not as good as everyone thinks. He's
good, but he's a Asante Samuel type. He's going to take his chances. He's going to bite. He's going to get his picks, but
he's going to get beat over the top.
Well, I mean, that 75 yards from Kendrick Bourne kills that number quite a bit as well. So.
But you want to know what he did? He bit on the route. He bit on the route.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He bit on the route against fucking Kendrick Bourne. Imagine what Cortland Sutton can do. Personally in this situation, I think Arizona contains San Francisco's run pretty well. Division opponent, I feel like they can contain it pretty well. They have the talent to do it. I would probably go Sutton. I don't hate Chuba Hubbard, but I would go Cortland Sutton in this situation.
Yeah, hard for me to bet Sutton.
Josh.
Yeah, I'd probably lean Sutton as well.
Yeah, and you know Sutton's going to get looked at. If Teddy Bridgewater's in the lineup, Cortland Sutton gets looked at. All right. 3 ups and 3 downs here. Josh, you got Calvin Ridley basically just saying, good for him on.
I'll read it if you want me to.
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
Look, here's the thing. Everybody wants to get on Ridley because he's hurting your fantasy teams. I get it. That's fine. You can be mad at that, but be respectful of the person. Mental health is a serious thing. Me, myself, I've dealt with it plenty over the last few years, and it has come to a head this year, and I've been on the breaking point on numerous occasions. Respect him, and he has the financials to be able to take care of this, and that's good for him. He has the resources. So for anybody else that maybe is dealing with the same shit, get help. It is okay. It does not make you weak.
Yep. Second up is Cooper Rush, saying he shut you up real quick. I've dubbed Cooper Rush the greatest redheaded quarterback in the NFL. Doesn't take too much to take the crown from Andy Dalton, but here we are. Michael Carter, what a guy! What a guy!
RB1 on the week.
Been beating that drum.
Yeah, I didn't get the chance to watch many of the games because I was at a game. All I know is that I look at my dynasty roster and dude has 32 points on my bench. I'm like, okay, weird. And then Ryan comes trying to make a trade for him this week.
Yeah.
No, you dickhead, not happening.
Didn't you put him on the trade block in that league?
Yeah, I did. And then I'm like, wait a minute. He's young. I gave up on.
I was so wondering why you put him out there because
just to
all
around.
You care about are people who can help you next year.
Just to fuck around. I'm bad at Dynasty, guys. I'm very bad at Dynasty. Okay. Ryan, your first up is the trade deadline. I love that people expect big things every year, are continually disappointed, and do it again. Special shout out to those that said Marticle was dumb for saying drop A-Rob or OBJ before the trade deadline. Enjoy your dead weight.
All my feedback was, you got to wait till after the trade deadline. You got to wait. No one was paying for Allen Robinson's $17 million of cap space.
If you just listened to the show beforehand, you would have known.
You would have never had him to begin with.
You would have never drafted Allen Robinson nor Odell Beckham Jr.
And then my whole thing was, people are now going to be like, well, I can just drop him now. But now you're fighting a week's late waivers. You're fighting the rest of the league for all these players. So you could have done it last week and been ahead of the curve.
Yep. And you're fighting for.
I mean, specifically in the article, I said go sign Kadarius Toney, and Kadarius Toney might feast this week. So.
Well, you're fighting for Raiders receivers because there's open targets
Hunter
there
Renfro
now.
Was mentioned in the article.
Hunter Renfro, you can
now be looking at Zay Jones too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Derek Carr's been very high on Jones, saying that he's one of the hardest workers in the building, first in, last out, all that nonsense. He's going to get those deep targets at rookie.
Yep.
Which Browns receiver steps into that role?
Peoples-Jones, Schwartz. Yep.
Yeah, you could have gotten MVS if someone dropped him because he's been on IR for a good minute. Definitely.
You had to wait for the trade deadline.
Yep. Ryan, you also said Nick Sirianni for using Boston Scott and Jordan Howard over Kenneth Gainwell. Some people just want to see the world burn, and it's you.
Fuck you, Ryan.
You're some people. I do want to say what was that flower power quote he had?
Good God.
After the game?
Yes.
He's an idiot. He's an idiot.
Guy.
He's a weird dude.
He's an idiot. And Ryan, the top 12 tight ends in week 9, only 3 were rostered in more than 20% of leagues. Stream this position. I believe one of them, I don't know if he was your stream of the week last week, but he was my upside, Tyler Conklin.
Yeah, he was third last week, I believe.
Oh, stream of the week tight ends murdered last week. But 9 out of the top 12 tight ends. Huh?
Tyler Conklin was 8. He had like 10.3 points. 10.7,
oh, my apologies. But 9 out of the top 12 tight ends were available in 80% or more leagues during the week last week. And then someone put out something, I think 4 of them were literally 0% rostered. it's just these random.
I mean, Brevin Jordan had
Josh's
3
boy,
for 40,
Brevin Jordan finally popped.
3 for 41 and a touchdown. Jesse James, 3 for 38 and a touchdown. Jeff Swaim, 4 for 23 and a touchdown.
You want to know real quick, Elixirs. You're welcome, buddy. And we'll get to the questions. Don't worry. If you bet the Rams minus 18 on Sunday, you should give up, because it was 38-0 entering the fourth quarter, and the Texans backdoor covered with 3 touchdowns in a 2-point conversion.
Oh, that's another one I could throw on my 3 downs. I got a bonus 3 down when we get to it.
Oh, unreal. All right, let me do my ups, then we can answer some of these questions. First one, Mike White, God. Literal God.
Wow. That was a
Jesus.
great performance.
Yep.
Jesus. Again, didn't watch most of the game, but in SoFi, they had fantasy updates for the top 9 players in each position. It was cool. I wish they had actual scores of the other games, but it was the fantasy rankings for the top. I think it was every position, including kickers. So it just said Mike White, 405 yards and 3 touchdowns. I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
What? Michael Pittman.
Woo.
Nailed that one. Man. Nailed that one. And Tyler Lockett made me look good with a few listeners as well.
Yeah. I told quite a few people not to play Lockett, and I apologize to each one of them. So.
I was in on Lockett against a garbage team. They're like, yeah, but Geno Smith has been killing it. I'm like, yeah, but it's the Jaguars.
Here's the thing. I expected, because his over was really low, and I told people to pick the over, but I did not expect that.
Oh, no, he exploded.
Yeah.
He exploded.
But that's what you get with Lockett.
Yeah,
boom or bust.
Exactly.
But I had said going in, I'm like, I could see Lockett going like 5 for 70 this week, which is like an average week for most receivers, which you don't get out of Lockett. You either get 4 or 40, and you got, he was 12 for 120 something?
Yeah.
142, so that's,
12 a catch.
12, yeah.
26.2 fantasy points. He was wide receiver, tied for wide receiver 5 on the week.
Pretty decent. Decent. All right. We'll get to these questions here, then we'll go to the downs. Elixirs, start Z1 and only Moss, or can he get a touchdown from Chase Edmonds? It's a standard. Buffalo is playing someone this week. Someone tell me. I'm forgetting.
Jacksonville.
Zach Moss. Zach Moss.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Moss.
Zach Moss. It wasn't Edmonds anyways, but
no.
Zach Moss. Yeah. All right. That's an easy one. From G, Boston Scar, Jarvis Landry, Brian Edwards, Corey Davis. Pick uno.
For me, it's Landry.
Okay.
Yeah, gotta be Landry.
Here's the thing with Scott. Like, I know he had 2 touchdowns last week. Jordan Howard had 2 touchdowns last week. Kenny Gainwell got absolutely shut out of this game plan. Jordan Howard's back down on the practice squad. So really, depending on what Philly does heading into this game, if Howard remains on the practice squad, I'm a lot less confident in Boston Scott, especially against the Chargers, because I really don't know how that defense is going to look, to be quite honest with you.
If Howard remains on the practice squad, you're less confident in Scott?
I am, yeah. Simply because Gainwell's not – if they didn't trust Gainwell to run the football because they brought up Jordan Howard, that tells me they're ultimately going to throw more, and that's going to favor Gainwell more than Scott.
Okay. So you're saying if they don't bring up Howard, they're already abandoning the run game again, and
Correct.
Okay, I got you.
I'm still on the Boston Scott train. I watched that Chargers run defense. It's atrocious. I watched that in person. Damian Harris should have had 150 yards. If Isaiah Wynn just learns how to play the sport, he has 150 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So
I need to see Sirianni do it again.
Yeah. That's fair.
That's my thing. I need to see Sirianni do it again because, honestly, fuck him for waiting until now to start running the football now that Miles Sanders is on IR.
Hey, way to ruin your first down. Come on.
I don't even care at this point.
Jeez. Spoiler alert.
I do like Landry's matchup, honestly.
It's a good point. It's not that Boston Scott can't do it skill-wise. Is Nick Sirianni actually just going to do it? So it's a fair point. I'll go Boston Scott. But I also don't hate Jarvis Landry's matchup either. I would go 1-2 with them.
I don't hate Brian Edwards, but I just want to see it first.
Brian Edwards is my downside.
Okay.
Going against Bradbury can body him.
That's fair.
Nope, not even for that fact. It's for the fact we'll get to that point.
Can't separate. I know, I get it.
From him again, IDP, Deion Jones, Foyesade Luakon, or Isaiah Simmons. Cool dude named Foyesade Luakon, who I had as my 6th-ranked linebacker coming into the season, dropped 26 points last week.
He's been lighting it up for me in 4 eyes.
He's nasty. Yeah.
Deion Jones has been good too. I just there's one league where I only start one IDP and Luakon was already picked up, so I'm actually starting Deion Jones in that league. So
yeah, the fact you have both Atlanta linebackers, I don't hate it, but I would try and get rid of Deion Jones if you can. I'll go with the Luakon. He's all over the place.
Yeah,
he's all over the
consistent.
place. Yep, all over the place. All right, Carrington, a guy wants Debo or Evans for Andrews and Claypool. He has Thielen, Amari, Evans, Debo, Mike Williams, and Cordero Patterson. Currently have Freiermuth at tight end. Is it worth it to lose one of them? If so, which one? So he's basically getting Mark Andrews and Chase Claypool in return. He already has Adam Thielen, Amari Cooper, Mike Williams, and Cordero Patterson. And obviously he would have to get rid of Debo or Mike Evans. Of the two, I would get rid of Mike Evans.
Yeah, I would. If you can part with Evans to get Andrews, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, because Claypool's a throw-in at that point.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
and I'm always going to favor the top tight end because
Andrews already had his bye, so you can cut Freiermuth, not even have to worry about it.
Yep. Yeah. So if you can, just I would get rid of Evans.
Yep.
There.
Make the trade for Evans.
Yep. All right, Broncos rule. Need a lot of help on this. Would you do Pitts and Diggs for Najee? New team would be Justin Herbert, Dalvin Cook, Najee Harris, Zach Ertz, Hollywood Brown, Keenan Allen, and the Renfro Gaskin or Zach Moss at flex. Saying, help me out, guys. Do I do it? He's really stuck. Diggs is the only option now, and Pitts is getting double-teamed every play. In his first game without Ridley, he flopped, which scares me.
I think the bigger concern is, just based on what he's telling us here, he's starting Dalvin and either Zach Moss or Myles Gaskin every week. So obviously replacing one of those two with Najee constantly is pretty huge. I feel like Pitts Diggs is a lot.
For Najee Harris, I would see if you can just do Diggs for Najee Harris.
And that's almost what I was going to say is I feel like even if the guy's desperate for tight end, I feel like he might even just do Pitts for Najee Harris and throw in Zach Moss to make him feel like he's getting something else.
Yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I like Najee. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's consistent, regardless of whether he's consistent with a high yards per carry. Diggs hasn't been the Diggs that we saw last year. He's still seeing the targets, and I think you'll see some course correction, back to where we know Diggs to be.
Yeah.
Pitts, I don't hate Pitts.
He added something that matters a lot.
He has Dallas, so his opponent that he's trading with has Dallas Goedert. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a need of his, but Pitts is definitely an upgrade over Goddard.
But I wonder if he would do Pitts. I mean, I might even do Diggs at this point. Pitts, Diggs, or Pitts and a running back for Goddard and Najee. If he looks as Pitts as some sort of overflow. Because here's the thing. We've all talked about ad nauseum that Diggs isn't Diggs yet this year, and we don't know if he's going to be. As weird as this is about to sound, I think Hunter Renfrow is about to be a very safe play for the rest of the season. So you have him who you can plug in there to where now if he'll give you Goddard, it's because it's Ertz who has me worried. And I know Ertz has looked great for those first two games. I don't know that it's going to continue. And that's kind of the thing. Like, I don't want to give that up.
Well, this week, though, no AJ Green. That opens more targets in that offense for Zach Ertz.
It's going to just keep making Ertz look better and better.
Yeah. So personally, I would not do both. I would do one or the other for Najee Harris. See what he'll bite on, and if you need to, go Pitts or Diggs.
Yep.
And throw in Moss.
And one of my favorite fantasy football tricks is send both trade offers. So that way, isn't one of his obvious choices. It's this or that instead of just declining you. If you send him both, he might bite on one.
Yeah. That's where we would go there. Pitts and Diggs is too much for Najee. That's just too much at the end of the day. Yeah. So I roll with that, Broncos. Roll with that. Alexa's asking, does he win? Derek Carr, Brandon
At
Cooks. What? Oh,
I
you're
was
just
saying the matchups.
saying where he is.
Yeah.
Derek Carr, Brandon Cooks, T. Higgins, Jerry Jeudy, Zeke Elliott, Zach Moss, Darren Waller, and Buffalo. So against Buffalo's defense. Against Mahomes, Robert Woods, Odell Beckham, Hunter Renfrow, James Conner, Myles Gaskin, Hunter Henry, and the Rams defense.
I don't know which side you have, but
OBJ will not be in your opponent's lineup. I'll tell you that right now. So,
So
I assume your lineup is first.
I think he's got some good matchups on the top side there. I like Carr a lot. I like Cooks this week. I like Higgins this week. Zeke's consistent. I love Moss's matchup. Waller should be fine.
He has all good matchups.
Yeah.
My worry is how many freaking touchdowns is James Conner going to vulture? Like, because James Conner could have 0 touchdowns or he could have 3. That's the big issue.
Yep.
I think you're set up well. He has to play OBJ because he had Calvin Ridley. So Odell Beckham will be in his lineup.
Well, that's a 0.
Connor had 10 for 29 and 1 touchdown in their first meeting.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm just throwing
and that's
again,
the thing
they played. San Francisco played the first time with Trey Lance. They'll have Jimmy G this time, which I don't know if that's much of an upgrade or not. But
I mean, like last week, James Conner had 2 touchdowns. It's like, again, it's like, is it a 1 touchdown week, a 3 touchdown
okay, well
week?
then, how much would your opinion change then if Kyler doesn't play because of the ankle sprain, and they end up playing? I don't even know who Kyler's backup is at this point.
Not a lot, because again, James Conner's not impressing me. He's just a goal line vulture.
I understand, but if they don't have Kyler playing,
Colt
are they
McCoy.
going to get in the red zone for him to score touchdowns? Is the point
No,
I'm
that's
getting.
a good point. No, that's a good point.
Colt McCoy.
Yes, they will. For some reason, teams struggle against Colt McCoy when they can't prepare for him. I don't get it. But then the week after
game last year.
then the week after Colt McCoy, like people have had the time to prepare for Colt McCoy, and he's listed as a starter. He sucks. He's fucking blows. So I actually don't hate that matchup. And San Francisco's defense sucks. That defense is not
no
good.
bueno.
Yeah. From G, Van Jefferson, Khalil Herbert, Rashad Bateman, Kenny G, pick one. I actually don't hate Rashad Bateman this week.
He's my upside play this week. For one of them.
I like Van Jefferson a lot too, though. It would be down to those two for me.
It would be those two.
With Deshaun Jackson, and not that Tutu Atwell's done anything, but they're both gone. So they're really down to 3 wide receivers with game experience.
I'll go.
Yeah, and Tennessee's good against the tight end. They'll take Higbee right out of that.
Yeah. I'll go Van Jefferson. That's just the safer play than Rashad Bateman. Yeah, I'll go Van Jefferson. All right.
I'll take Bateman. So.
I say Stafford missed him on a deep shot last week, too. Just missed him. It would have been a touchdown.
Yeah. All right. Into the downs. Finally, Josh already said Nick Sirianni. And 2 guys that dropped a fat goose egg, Emmanuel Sanders and Russell Gage.
What happened? Russell Gage didn't even get a target.
Well, Russell Gage, I can't explain. Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley just took everything. That's all it was. Yeah. So, tough week. Ryan, you have Jalen Reagor. Injury is not his fault, but his line was just over under 28 receiving
all
yards.
All my props are sponsored by Thrive Fantasy this week. Or all of my downs are sponsored by
Thrive Fantasy.
Yeah.
Okay. Walking wine glasses, Jalen Reagor. So
yeah. His over-under dropped to 28 yards on Sunday, and I bet it so much. And obviously, it was dumb, but it was so appetizing.
Ryan saying the Chiefs, they do nothing on offense and slow Daniel Jones, killing all of his Monday Night Football props.
Yep.
So, oh, man, it felt good sitting in the hotel, or not the hotel, the airport bar.
Yeah, just trash talking.
Eating a burger, watching Patrick Mahomes throw just another bad interception to the Giants. And everyone's like, oh, but one of his receiver's hands. No, he missed his receiver outside, and Jerick McKinnon wasn't the intended receiver, and it hit him right between the eyes, and the ball went up. Now, he can't control that, but he could put the ball in a better spot.
Yep. I say he couldn't get right like everyone thought he would, but then even worse is their defense decided to slow Daniel Jones down. I expected him way more yards out of Jones that week. So.
Freaking Daniel Jones. You also have Joe Burrow. Thanks for stopping at exactly 259 yards. Your over was 259 and a half.
I was watching this game possibly go to overtime, and then they blow it, and I just was heartbroken. I was like, one more pass was all I needed.
Oh, tough. You hate to see it. All right, me. Dang, it feels good 2 years in a row for Justin Herbert to just absolutely blow chunks against the Patriots. We found his kryptonite.
To be fair, he was still a top 15 quarterback.
Yeah, because Jalen Mills gave Jalen Guyton his first career NFL touchdown. What are you doing? Like, what are we doing? Jalen Mills, he didn't even try on the play. He didn't even try. Listen, I'm counting. I know stat-wise. Me personally, I'm counting Justin Herbert as a downside this week because I'm sorry. Both quarterbacks sucked, but at least Mac Jones got better throughout the game. Herbert sucked.
I've noticed that's kind of Mac Jones' MO too, is he just improves as the game flows and he takes in more information. I'm starting to like him more and more.
Yeah, it was impressive watching him kind of say the first half where he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn was pissing me off because whoever 20 is on the Chargers defense blows. He's the DB, he blows. Nelson Aguilar toasted him. Kendrick Bourne
Aguilar
toasted
toasts
him.
a lot of people. It's just a matter of him catching it.
Jacoby Myers toasted him.
Yeah.
Hunter Henry toasted him. He can't cover. It was bad. It was terrible. Kyler Murray. Really? It's Green Bay.
Yeah.
Really?
He got hurt though.
That whole game again. When you think you know what's happening, you have
Thursdays, man.
Idea.
Justin Jefferson. Hello? 2 catches? Hello? You're playing a bad secondary?
Did say it was an Adam.
Hello?
So just saying.
Bad secondary. Tough. All right, a couple more questions coming in from Wonder Kid 52. Offered Adams and Chubb for Cooper Kupp. Feel like I should obviously accept. Second place in his league. Feel like might mess up the rhythm. If you are second in your league, don't change anything, in my opinion. I get it. Devontae Adams and Nick Chubb is enticing. Don't mess up anything. You're in second place.
Yeah, Kupp he's feeling like a cheat code at wide receiver.
Yeah,
he's not going anywhere.
And Adams might hit a cliff with Jordan Love.
So, Cooper Kupp. Keep him. You're second in your
I
league.
will say this. I will say this.
I have to know who his other running backs are.
Yeah, and that's really my biggest thing. Like, if you feel like there's a massive void at like your RB2 spot, and I say RB2, not flex, your RB2, that Kupp is literally just carrying you. Adams and Chubb on a weekly basis are going to slightly outscore Kupp. So that's where I'm like, where does that other player come into play?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm all about, I'm not really going to mess with it unless it's going to improve my team. I'm not 1,000% that Adams and Chubb improve by losing Kupp.
So we're sticking with Kupp.
Yeah, stick with Kupp.
Fantastic. Great. Awesome. Elixirs. Likely for Tyrod Taylor to play this week. I don't know why. I think Davis Mills should continue playing. If he's going to backdoor cover like that, I think Davis Mills should continue playing. I don't really know. That's going to be...
Davis Mills has been very up and down, but like he's played really bad in the games you expect him to play bad in.
Yeah.
And he's
like,
played decent.
And that's a rookie surrounded by no talent. I don't understand the huge knock on Mills. So
he's got a good matchup this week.
Yeah.
Take all beat reporters, everything with a grain of salt. I read something that says they like Davis Mills better than Tua when that trade was being floated. I don't know that they're going to run away from Davis Mills. You've already had to throw him into the fire. Why do you move back at this point? So
he hasn't looked bad.
No, and he's not taking big hits, and I think that's very important with these rookies,
especially with a crap offensive line in front of him.
There
was a few. I think it was like the first game of the year he started. He got absolutely blown up repeatedly. I haven't seen much of that lately.
I think also either coming out of high school or coming out of
going into college. Yeah, he was the number one. I believe
he was the number one
pocket passer prospect. Yeah,
but something happened, correct?
Well, he got hurt and only played. I think it was like 13 total games in college.
That's what it was. He got hurt. His arm looks good. Like he looks like a legit NFL quarterback.
I've taken a ton of info, so I couldn't credit who this was, but one person said he might have been the most pro-ready quarterback in this entire draft. So
a lot of people said Mac Jones and Davis Mills were the two most pro-ready quarterbacks, 100%, because they're both pocket passers.
Yep.
And Mac Jones, obviously, he's shown it. His IQ through 8 weeks is kind of ridiculous for a rookie. So
yeah, I'm really curious to see what we get out of Mac Jones going forward if New England actually puts some weapons around him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because like Tom Brady early in his career didn't really have like legit weapons.
I've said David Givens.
I said legit. Okay.
David Givens.
He took off offensively when Welker and Moss got there.
Oh yeah, Wes Welker.
So again, legit weapons.
Well, Troy Brown is good. Troy Brown was good.
He was good enough to get them a first-round pick, and a Super Bowl win.
Fuck out of here. Troy Brown was good. Fuck out of here. Troy Brown was good. Not as good of a returner as Gunnar Olszewski.
Did Brady make him good, or was Troy Brown just good? Because if he was really good as a wide receiver, you're not trotting him out there to play corner on defense.
Deion Branch was good. Don't even mess around with Deion Branch.
That's right. Branch was the one that got you guys the first round pick.
Yeah, Deion Branch was good. Okay, upside downside from last week. Well, Josh, you're really having fun just giving people bad information.
Yep. The last 2 weeks on upsides have been rough.
So just do the opposite.
Yeah, do the opposite. 0-3-1 for Josh. This week he's got Derek Carr in New York against the Giants, David Johnson in Miami, Rashad Bateman at home against the Minnesota Vikings, and Jared Cook in Philadelphia. Ryan, you were 500 last week. You got the GOAT, Mike White.
Him tomorrow.
White.
Short week. I think it's going to be a little bit of a problem for Indy.
Yeah, Mike White in Indy. Zach Moss in Jacksonville. Is that in Jacksonville or home against Jacksonville?
Thought it was in.
Is it in?
My notes.
It is in Jacksonville.
It is in Jacksonville. Okay. In Jacksonville. Hunter Renfrow in New York against the Giants. Tyler Conklin playing the worst fantasy defense against tight ends, correct?
Yep. He should be my stream of the week, but I'm against picking people twice in a row, but he's great.
Yeah, he was going to be if I filled out the show sheet earlier, he was going to be my upside tight end. So I was also 500 last week. Jordan Love in Kansas City. Yeah, the Chiefs' defense is that bad. I'm willing to bet on Jordan Love this week. Their defense is that bad. I'm willing to bet on Jordan Love.
I'm curious to know how much they're going to let Love throw, because I think it's going to be a very heavy run.
Rip and rip, baby.
See, I think they're going to let him throw. I think LaFleur is just looking forward to this. So
he could be.
He wants to prove that this guy's the future.
He can win with his guy. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and also, if he couldn't, Kurt Benkert should have been able to.
Well, even better. I thought you were gonna hit on the fact of, man, is this the defense to throw him out there again?
Oh yeah, well yeah. If there's any team to throw a,
do we have a word on Adams? I'm sorry to interrupt, but I haven't found the news. Is he back?
He's vaccinated,
he
so
back.
He has to be back.
Okay.
He's vaccinated. All he needs is 2 negative tests.
I didn't hear that I think they activated him shortly after the Thursday game.
If you happen to have like an absolutely loaded fantasy team, dynasty, that just traded for Devontae Adams and Ezekiel Elliott,
fuck off.
Would you start Adams with Jordan Love over Robert Woods in such an easy matchup?
I would trade me a first-round pick for Matt Stafford, but that's beside the point.
He doesn't have any left.
Yeah, he does.
Actually, that's not true.
He wanted the lottery pick. It's not happening, but we'll talk about that later.
You think Matt Stafford's unreal. I'd roll the dice with Jordan Love and Devontae. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
That defense blows. What? Oh my God, what was it? God, who is it? No, Bashaud Breeland's on Minnesota now. I take that back. Yeah. Bashaud Breeland had a ball hit him in between the 2 and the 1, and it ended up in the opposition's hands. That's how bad Bashaud Breeland is. And guess what defense he played for? The Chiefs.
Yeah.
So,
played for Washington, if I'm not mistaken.
So you're helping my case here.
Yeah, exactly. Really he's gotten around. Yeah.
Yeah. Bashaud Breeland sucks.
Not good at football.
Yeah. Oh God.
He's got a really good agent. That's what he's got.
Kansas City Chiefs suck. I'm so confident in Jordan Love. I'm so confident in how bad the Chiefs defense is.
Yeah, it helps.
I'm putting Marquez Valdes-Scantling as an upside as well. Because all I need is a 60-yard touchdown.
180-yard touchdown.
I need one 60-yard touchdown. Boom. He's an upside. I have Myles Gaskin at home against Houston as well, and Zach Ertz in San Francisco. No AJ Green really helps his cause. Josh, you were 3-1 last week on the downsides.
Crushed
you
it
really,
on the fade, so.
Yeah, crushed it on the fades too. Yeah, 19-13 on the season. You have Trevor Lawrence this week against Buffalo. Is this why you're crushing it on the fades? Because you're picking rookie quarterbacks against like top 5 NFL defenses?
No, I was going through. I had Matt Ryan initially, but I was down on Pitts, and I try not to always double up on teams.
I do the same thing, and what's funny is I felt like I took some cupcakes this week at downside as well. I was also going to put Matt Ryan, but you already had him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm also not high on Hurts this week either, if that helps any. So.
Sure. Talk about a game where the Detroit Lions should have stood up for and at least played well.
Dude, Jared Goff threw it away on 4th down. Like, if that doesn't, like, personify what their season is, and that's not even the first time he's done that this year.
Again, didn't watch the game.
He is morphing into Jay Cutler. That's what he's doing.
Didn't watch the game, couldn't watch the game, was at a different game. All I know is at halftime, I checked the score, and it was like 33-0. So, go Detroit.
They put up no fight at all.
Yeah, absolutely no fight. That team sucks. You have Joe Mixon against Cleveland, Devonta Smith against the Chargers, and Kyle Pitts in New Orleans.
So Ryan, I took some swings here.
Yeah.
You know.
I did not.
Ryan, you were 2-2 last week. Dalton Schultz is a swing. He's been good.
Yeah.
Dalton Schultz is a swing. You have Dalton Schultz against Denver. Marvin Jones against Buffalo. Damian Harris in Carolina, and Ryan Tannehill against
Harris is a little bit of swing, and Tannehill, I felt like people are going to come back thinking that Tennessee is going to have to throw the ball more. Still hate the matchup. Think he's going to get murdered.
I was going to have Damian Harris as my downside if you didn't have him there. Right. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes, my downside. It's weird to say. Is Patrick Mahomes as a downside a swing at this point? Because
I mean, he's still consistently finishing as a QB1.
Yeah, but like a Phillip Rivers QB1.
Yeah, like a closure.
Well, to be okay, last week he didn't. He was QB17, but
it's bad.
Pretty sure the week before was Tennessee, and he did not finish as a QB1. Like back-to-back weeks, he has not finished as a QB1.
One of those games, he had like a weird bounce back in the fourth quarter that saved him. I think that
Washington.
Yeah, last week or 2 weeks ago, he was QB22.
Okay,
and then Washington the week after, first half was terrible,
atrocious. Yeah,
and then the second half he had 3 touchdowns. So I have Mahomes as a downside. Also, I was 3-1 last week. My running back, it's the tandem of Jeremy McNichols and Adrian Peterson. I just don't know how that plays out.
Yeah, I'm trotting McNichols out. I like him as a passing game, and this week is hitting me worse than Bipocalypse. I had a lot of Washington football team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers players.
Yeah, I don't like the. It's not even the fact that the matchup I don't like. It's the fact that people I feel are gonna think that Tennessee is still gonna run the same offense, and they're not.
No, absolutely.
They're required to throw more. If you look at Derrick Henry's carries, he's in on 60% of the snaps. The issue is those 60% of the snaps are 35 carries. So he's getting the ball every time he's in. He's averaging 30 carries a game. Adrian Peterson at 36 is not getting his age in carries every game. So
yeah, the game plan has to change.
It has to change. No, don't get me wrong. I still think to this day Adrian Peterson's probably a top 20 running back in the NFL because he can still do it better than some of the young guys. He's built different.
I love that he just straight comes. I know he's not on the street, but just comes off the street and runs for 100 yards.
Because he's Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
I mean, all right. So Emmett Smith.
And I'm curious to see if they even activate him heading into this week. Because they signed him
technically on the practice squad.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
they could ultimately just roll with McNichols, and I believe Sargent. They have Sargent.
So let's just let's just go big picture here with Adrian Peterson. Emmett Smith, Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, Walter Payton. Can you argue Adrian Peterson is the 5th best running back of all time, if not higher? Legitimately, you could put him at 5.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Because I think everyone and their mother will say Jim Brown is probably next to Jerry Rice as the best football player.
Yeah, being from Ohio, we're contractually obligated to say Jim Brown. So
I think skill wise, you're gonna look at Emmett Smith, Walter Payton, or Barry Sanders. But as a football player, I think a lot of people would say Jim Brown is one of the best football players of all time.
Yeah, I think 5 is probably pretty fair and pretty accurate.
Fair, right? Because I don't, who else would you put at 5 all time?
Look, you can make an argument for Smith. He's the NFL's all-time leading rusher. I mean, just from a skill perspective, I didn't think there was really anything that Emmett Smith did that was just so mind-blowing that was like, wow, you're the best of all time. To me, I'll be honest, the best I've ever seen is Barry Sanders, bar none.
My dad says the best.
The things he could do to just destroy defenders, just baffling to me.
My dad says the best he's ever seen run is Walter Payton. The best skill guy, Barry Sanders, bar none. It's not even close.
Yeah.
My brother, and I wish he played more. If Gale Sayers played more, Gale Sayers would be one of the best. Yeah. He might be better than Walter Payton. That's how good
I
Gale
feel
Sayers
that way
was.
about Bo Jackson.
Oh, of course.
You know,
but again, you can't include them. But I legitimately think Adrian Peterson could be the 5th best running back of all time, and we're still watching him play the game.
Yeah.
At 36, the 5th best running of all time. Also throwing out, G says Eric Dickerson. I don't think so. He didn't really put it together for a full career.
Yeah, he just gets the name because of the 2K. So
yeah, and it's like Chris Johnson kind of did the same thing he did. Chris Johnson had a good little stretch. He didn't string it out over a full career.
One guy, and it's more his fantasy because he didn't again have a full career. LaDainian Tomlinson
was nasty,
and Marshall Faulk. Marshall Faulk is great. Were the first. Marshall Faulk was the first guy to kind of be that PPR running back. So for fantasy, they hold like a special place. But again, you can't really put them in a top 5 discussion. So,
and if you want to talk Eric Dickerson and Chris Johnson, Adrian Peterson is a 2,000-yard season coming off of ACL surgery.
Yeah. That he tore in December. Like, that's just baffling to me.
To me, Adrian Peterson is the 5th best running back of all time.
I think it's fair.
Because I personally, I can't put him over any of the other top 4 just based off of what I know from my parents and my dad's friends saying, yeah, Walter Payton never ran out of bounds. Barry Sanders, the greatest, just pure, elusive runner of all time. Emmett Smith is the all-time leader, and Jim Brown is 1A, 1B with Jerry Rice as the best actual football player of all time. We're legitimately watching the 5th best running back ever.
Yeah.
At 36. That's a treat. Take that in. That's a treat. All right, some questions. B-dubs. Would you rather have Knox or Thomas?
Logan Thomas.
Probably Logan Thomas, I would assume.
Dawson Knox.
And Logan Thomas.
I'll take Logan Thomas.
Yep.
I would take Logan Thomas.
Dawson Knox. Just remember, B-dubs. When we take big swings on this show, who's normally the one that comes out right?
I'm pretty sure fantasy tight end is the lowest stakes swing.
Big swing. You know what? B-dubs, worst case, you just pick up Brevin Jordan because he'll be a touchdown.
Yeah,
that's a big swing, Joe.
Brevin Jordan. JAC, good to see you in here. He has Kyler in a 10-man single QB redraft, so he threw Herbert on the trade block. Got off for trade where he receives Zeke and Tannehill, gives up Herbert and Cordero Patterson. Should he accept? He doesn't mind selling his Cordero Patterson because Mike Davis had the same amount of carries and receptions as him last week. JAC, you should mind getting rid of Cordero Patterson because Mike Davis is a bum. I honestly...
Zeke is still an upgrade, in my opinion.
Zeke is an upgrade to Patterson.
If you're building
quarterbacks really don't matter at this point. You have Kyler,
if you're building a real football team, Zeke is an upgrade to Patterson, not in fantasy.
So I would.
Yeah, technically, Patterson does have higher points per game. He's at 19.2. Zeke's at 18.
Thank you for laughing at my jokes. Back to your question. I'm gonna keep Cordero Patterson. I'm gonna keep Patterson. Maybe if you can swing a receiver that you might need to get rid of Patterson. That's like
here's the thing: if the guy wants Herbert, take Tannehill out of this trade because you don't
go
need
Herbert
Tannehill,
for Zeke,
and he sucks, and just offer Herbert for Zeke. And then if you have a fourth running back as Zach Moss or somebody hiding on the bottom of your roster, throw that in as the backup. So
yeah, I like that. I definitely like that.
Especially if you're playing in a league where you can start Patterson at running back or wide receiver. I just feel like
he's definitely at that point he has more value than Zeke just for that multi-positional eligibility.
Yeah.
Aside from the fact that he is scoring more points. So
yeah. James traded Calvin Ridley for T. Higgins and Michael Carter. That looks really good right now.
Yep.
Yeah, it does.
That looks really good.
Especially in PPR. This Michael Carter's going to be a guy we're talking about at the end of the season.
If Mike White's dumping down.
Yep.
And I not 100% he's going to ball out this week.
I agree.
I think that
I still think the PPR points are there though.
Hold on.
Yeah, very well. Absolutely.
Hold on. It's Thursday Night Football. What the fuck do we know?
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
Well, here's the problem. Now we've already said something might happen. So my theory is this. We say something could happen, but now we think the opposite's going to happen. But now that we've thought about both of those things, something else entirely is going to happen.
All right. So here we go.
If he gets hurt, Ryan, I'm coming after you.
Here we go. Ready?
Michael P. Ryan, 4 touchdowns.
Here we go. Out there in the universe. Here we go. Jonathan Taylor, 8 carries, 2 yards.
8 carries.
Out there in the universe.
8 carries, 2 yards, 8 touchdowns.
You.
8 carries. How do you have 8 carries for 2 yards and 8 touchdowns?
Backwards and forwards.
So if he runs backwards, does that technically count as negative yards?
6 touchdowns.
6 touchdowns. Okay. Nope. Still
Ryan,
doesn't
put the rum down.
Still doesn't count. The max he could get there is.
We don't know how far he went back on those other 2 carries.
If he has 8 touchdowns and 8 carries,
I lowered it.
He said
to 6 touchdowns.
He said 6. So he could have 2 carries for like negative 30 yards.
Exactly.
And then end up with 8 for 2 yards, but 6 touchdowns. Yeah, totally makes sense. James also asking, should he trade Godwin and Emmanuel Sanders for DK Metcalf? I wouldn't.
Everybody is wanting to trade Chris Godwin. I know Carrington, I believe it was, just hit me up a whole bunch. I am so pro Godwin. There's very few trades where I'm like, yes, trade Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's dynasty, I'd rather have DK, but
very fair. I look at everything through the lens of redraft.
I do as well. I would keep Godwin and Emmanuel if it's redraft. He said he wouldn't take Herbert for Zeke. He got offered by the same guy, Herbert and Amari Cooper, for Ryan Tannehill and Stephon Diggs. So would you rather have Amari Cooper or Stephon Diggs?
I mean,
Cooper, honestly, right now.
I was going to say Cooper's the immediate points.
I would keep oh God, I hate Amari Cooper. I'm going to stick with my gut, Stephon Diggs. I would take Stephon Diggs because I literally hate Amari Cooper.
That's fair.
I think at that point it's personal preference. I mean, both are going to put up points.
If you're not required,
Diggs might be more consistent.
Yeah.
But I think the boom games definitely favor Cooper.
Yeah.
Can you get any piece other than Tannehill? You do not need a backup quarterback. Well,
yeah.
The Chargers had their
You might for this week.
Yeah.
But I feel like at that point there's somebody on waivers you could grab.
Yeah.
If it's a 10-team league.
Yeah. Most likely you can. So I don't know. I'm gonna go with Diggs because I'm gonna stick with my take. I think Amari Cooper is hot and cold, and I think he's too hot and cold to be in your lineup. Diggs, when he is cold, still gets you a floor of like 10 points when he's cold. And we've seen too, Diggs only got hotter as the season went on last year.
Exactly.
And we're at the halfway point. He's gonna need to get hot for Buffalo to stay where they're at.
Yep.
Because I'm sorry, 3-3 at halftime against the 1-7 Dolphins, not going to cut it.
Yep.
They need to turn on.
That first half was really rough. Not what I was expecting at all, especially how the first matchup between them went.
They need to hit the gas early and often.
Yeah, you got to remember there's only one bye week now. You want that bye week.
Yeah. Yep. There's a
Well, both those guys have already had their bye, Diggs and Cooper.
Oh, no,
I mean playoff bye week.
Like
playoff
Buffalo
bye week.
needs to they want to
foot
on the gas.
They need to step on the gas pedal early and often because especially against playoff teams, the first half they've played is not going to cut it.
Yep.
And Elixir's just bringing up a good point. Get Godwin out of there because he's scared about Antonio Brown coming back. He still produced with Antonio Brown in the lineup.
Yeah, and then Antonio Brown was on a bike this week, but he was on a bike with a walking boot. So I mean, I'm scared off by the coach speak where they said he could be back next week, could be way longer than that, or whatever it was that Arians said. So
Bruce Arians, king of coach speak.
Yep.
I still think even if Brown comes back, Godwin still has a solid floor.
I do too.
And I think that's what people are.
Well, we all know what happened the last time Antonio Brown had feet problems. So I think he's done in Tampa Bay. Book it. He's gonna go for that freeze treatment.
Okay, so stream of the week. I don't really know my segue there, guys. I'm normally I apologize to our viewers
I think I
and
broke
listeners.
your brain there.
I apologize to our viewers and listeners. I was I don't know. I just can't tell you. We're just gonna go into Ryan's stream of the week, and we're gonna wrap up the show from there. He's got Teddy Two Gloves in Dallas, Dan Arnold at home against Buffalo, and the Raiders defense in New York against the Giants.
Yep. That surprises me with Arnold because Buffalo's been good against the tight end.
They've also been good against wide receivers, and I think Arnold, because he's this weird hybrid, is going to be the one who gets left open. I think he leads the team in targets, thus plays well for tight end. 8 targets is what I have him at. I don't have him having a huge game, but again, we saw last week you don't have to be a streamable tight end option.
Yep.
Fair enough.
My kicker of the week, Chris Boswell. I don't know, guys. I really
Did he
don't.
get concussed last week? He may not even
Did
play
he?
this week.
Not even sure.
Oh yeah, he got murdered, and they didn't have anyone to kick extra points.
Again, didn't watch any games, so I don't know. You know what? Chris blew it. Washington football team. They're on a bye, are they?
Yep.
Okay.
So you can't get negative points.
You suck at this.
Follow at Lindellians on Twitter and just let her do this.
Boom.
I've had funny jokes the last 2 weeks. I didn't have a good joke this week for
So
kicker
here,
of the
I
week.
rate kickers. The number 1 kicker this week will be Justin Tucker.
Yeah, go pick up Justin Tucker off waivers, guys. He's there.
Which I did in a league this week. He was cut.
I was gonna say he may be on waivers because he was on bye last
Okay,
week.
listen. I get, right? Only keep one kicker on your roster, blah, blah, blah. Why are you dropping Justin Tucker?
Worked out great for me.
So stupid. Okay. Thriving on props. 6-2 is Joshua. 3-5 is Ryan. Joe is 4-4. Why are you laughing there,
My
Ryan?
big swing hit last
G
week.
got me in the chat. I was not expecting that at all.
When we put it up,
Why not?
Big Dick Nick Folk. We were at the game. We were saying Nick Folk is the best offensive weapon the Patriots have. Tell me we're wrong. Tell me we're wrong.
Yeah.
Kicker
Questionable.
of the week every week.
Every week.
You want to know what's funny? Linda has Nick Folk as her number 1 kicker this week.
I love it.
Big Dick Nick Folk. Josh, you have Jonathan Taylor over 82.5 rushing and receiving yards at 105
I can't believe
points.
that's on the plus
Here's the
side
thing.
of that.
Here's the
It
thing.
feels like
It's-
such a trap at that
Oh,
point.
it feels so easy. It feels so easy.
But then it's Thursday night, and I'm like, screw it.
It feels
I'm taking the
so
over.
easy. Michael Carter, Ryan, you have him under 51 rushing yards at even. And I have Mike White, the God, over 235.5 passing yards,
I
95
actually threw a
points.
prop together with White and Wentz. I don't remember exactly how I played it, but I have, because I like Carter, but I think all of his work's going to come in the passing game, not the rushing game. So
Yeah.
I think White's going to have to throw quite a bit.
Yeah, makes sense. And apparently, typed in
So,
here right now.
Real quick, before we announce it, do we want to give Brad a little bit more time to try to get back to us versus just a week?
Well, how about we announce it right now? We tell him right now
Okay.
he has to get a hold of us by the next show, and then we spin on the next show.
That's fine. I'm completely fine with that. All right. So, Brad, you won the signed Javonte Williams UNC jersey last week.
Woo!
Get in touch with us. You
Yeah,
can
DM
reach us
one of the
at
3 of
Club
us or the show
Fantasy
account.
FFL
Yep.
on Twitter. You can find myself, Joe, Ryan on Twitter as well. Reach out to us, and we'll take it even a step further. Every single show, we will give you a shout out. At a certain point, hopefully you're watching one of these shows, and if you're not,
Next
we're
one.
spinning again next week and giving it
Yep.
to somebody else. So
Yee.
I'll put it in my show notes for tomorrow now.
Koo. Young Wei Koo is also good. Just ask Josh.
Was dropped in one of my leagues today.
Again.
I think for Tucker, though, so it's kind of fair.
Okay, that's fair. Tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern, regularly scheduled programming. Week 9 DFS and Chill. Ryan and Kira are joined by Britt Flynn from Lightning Round Fantasy and Fighting Chance Fantasy.
For real this time.
For real? Okay.
2 weeks ago.
She was supposed to be on week 7.
Yeah.
For real this time. Okay. Tomorrow night as well, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Club Dynasty. Josh and Zach Smith. This week's guest is being typed into the show sheet.
Josh Larkey from Roto Underworld.
LFG Larks, baby. LFG Larks. We got to get him a Larks hat. It fits. Also starts a different day on Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern. No me again this week. I will be in Notre Dame, visiting a buddy, going to the Notre Dame football game. And this week's guest is TBD. So we're excited.
I have a couple flyers out. I'm going to double back tomorrow, but I should have an answer hopefully for Thursday.
It's also Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
And also, it's South Bend, Indiana, not in Notre Dame. Come on.
Also overrated is what the college football program is. So
Notre Dame.
I have to say I'm excited. TBD. This will be like their third or fourth time joining us this year. So super excited to have TBD back on with us. Saddened I can't be there this week to join TBD on the show, but excited to have it on the show. TBD is genderless.
Yeah.
TBD is
they them.
They them. Yeah, they them. We're excited to have they them on the show. Imagine saying Notre Dame wrong. I don't know, man.
Thanks, Elixirs.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Notre Dame. Notre Dame. All right. Tomorrow night, Fourth and Frames, 8 p.m. Eastern. Our friends at Fantasy and Frames will be live tomorrow night, correct? I thought it was tonight.
Actually, I think it's tonight, and I just forgot.
Who writes this damn show sheet? Who writes this damn show sheet? Jeez. God, I show up 20 minutes before the show expecting to
Exactly. So I don't want to hear any bitching. Jesus.
Yeah. I show up 20 minutes before the show. This all should be done for me.
I agree.
Jeez. Fucking slacker over here.
Shut up.
Yeah. What a dick. Honestly. All right. What the hell is this show?
All right. Our
outros are. Do we give fantasy football advice, or do we just
do? And we good do. Fantasy advice.
I'd say Elixir started off the show by saying thanks for the Conklin advice, and I think that's really all we've done so far.
Exactly. So we won Elixir's 1 week.
We nailed it. We absolutely nailed it. Hey, the 1 week I told you to pick up Cameron Curl, you won the 4-ride championship. So again, 1/14 of the belt there. All right. You can follow Josh at the 100 Sody and Ryan at the Fantasy 5, myself at Joe_Zollo. Club Fantasy at Club Fantasy FFL. The URL is clubfantasyffl.com. Always remember, defense wins championships. Offense wins fantasy football. We will all see you next week. Same time, same beautiful place. You'll see Ryan and Josh tomorrow night, both on separate shows. You'll see the both of them, including Faith and TBD, on Saturday. You will see me Sunday on Instagram Live, and all of us once again next Wednesday. We will see you next week.